So here I am on Cherrilyn's stand. Cherrilyn is a textile artist, and she's been telling me that she works with soluble fabrics for about 30 years.
Yes.
And we're in front of a really beautiful piece that has some sort of story behind it.
It has. I wanted to work with 1920s fabrics, and I love the costume. What I thought I loved was the dresses, but when I actually went deeper into it, it wasn't the dresses, it was actually the layering of the fabrics and the fineness of the fabrics I liked. So I didn't actually want to create clothes, I wanted to create fabric. So the soluble was actually a good way of creating fabric. Then I was invited to exhibit at the Mall Galleries. So I then went further into that period of time and decided that what I wanted to do was create a piece of work that showed the fragility of the women, but also the strength of when they're bonded together, if you like, stitched together,
Yes.
how powerful the suffragette movement became. So each individual fragile woman is represented by one single strand of very fine machine embroidery thread, which is just the normal 40s. However, when it's put together, you have a very strong image.
Yes.
And also it has integral strength because it's held together as women banding together.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful in its own right, even without the story behind it. Yes.
Thank you. And so the shadows really are the image. The shadows are made as if, and also they're a bit fleeting, the shadows, because they were fragile. Some died, as we know.
Yes. Yes.
So that's all the sort of context of how it is. Yes. But from actually working with that, then I've done over the years many pieces of work, some that have been all over the world, which is very nice, travelled much wider than I have. Mm-hmm. And they're not here today because they are past work, really. And then I was invited to teach in Australia a couple of years, well, I've been twice, but a couple of years ago. And so the body of work at the other end of the stand is about what I call journey cloths, and it was a journey for me too. Okay. So if you'd like to...
Yes, let's go and have a look at those.
So these, not this one, but these bodices were done for Australia. It's for Fibre Arts Australia, and I was teaching there. And unfortunately, I had an accident before I went, and anyway, it doesn't matter what my accident was, but anyway, I was injured. I couldn't walk, and my husband insisted that I did walk. And so even though I was very lame in an air boot and sticks, and eventually ended up in a wheelchair before various things, so we walked the fields behind our house. And so this piece here is called Heavy Footsteps Through Ploughed Fields. And as it's winter, it's the leaves and it's the seed heads.
The seed heads are gorgeous.
Thank you. And then I was walking along, still walking along, and it gets to spring. But obviously I'm walking looking down because I'm frightened of falling, and I hear a blackbird sing, and I looked up, I was with my husband, and realised that all the hedges were full of blossom.
Pretty.
So this is my blackbird singing, and actually the blue bit is actually the music from the Beatles song The Blackbird. It doesn't matter that you can't see it, I need to know it is that music that's in it. And then summer came, and the fields were full of dandelion clocks and poppies. So these are dandelion clocks and poppies. And then I had the operation for my leg, and then I wasn't walking. And my husband is very well trained, so he actually photographed the hedgerows for me. I couldn't connect with it because I have to really connect with my work. And he said, of course you can, we pick blackberries and rose hips, you know what the autumn's like. And as soon as he said that, this is autumn.
So is this all free motion embroidery?
It's all free motion embroidery.
And regular and different weight threads and things?
I nearly always, there's only almost entirely a 40 thickness thread,
right.
Yes. And it's all free machine embroidery. And I have the piece of soluble, put the net on top, and then I draw roughly. I draw line, I don't draw all the detail. So I draw if I draw a tree, I will always draw the trunk, and then put the detail on. But you've got to ground your work. So I always put the line on, and then I can by eye just put the detail in.
The detail in.
Yes.
And then this front one's got some script on it.
It has. This was,
well,
when I was better, then we went to the beach, and so this is all about the beach. And these are, I mean, I was still hobbling along, but it was all about these. These are our parking tickets on the beach, which I stitched in because, you know, it's all
like,
my work so
I'm
personal.
going to say it's very personal. It's like a memory quilt.
It is in a way like a memory quilt. And so this bought, and that was my little granddaughter that was born 7 years in the making. She was, so you know she had to have one. And these pieces.
And this is more script.
It's all, yes. I've always worked with text. I used to put poetry and things through, but this is about a hedge. So a hedge isn't just one plant. A hedge has to be more than one plant to be a hedge. And a family has to be more than one person. So I'm using the hedge as a sort of simile to the family. Right. And the idea is, this was the first part of it, the second part is over there. And this was me, because I'm the mother of the family. So people wrote about, my husband wrote about being married to me, my daughter wrote about being a daughter, I wrote about being a mother, my granddaughter wrote. So people wrote through, and I wrote exactly as they wrote it down for me. So my little 7-year-old granddaughter, which is somewhere in here, I think, here, this is, oh no, one of them is Tabitha, age 7.
Oh, right.
Anyway, Tabitha, age 7, I can't find it now, but
you've transferred.
So I've exactly whatever
onto
she
here.
said. Yes, but this is one of the rare times I use a thicker thread. I use a 12.
Oh right, but still on the sewing machine.
Still on the sewing machine.
And what,
yes.
and what goes in the bobbin?
The 40.
40 in the bobbin.
And if you look, most of my work keeps the same colour in the bobbin.
Yes.
I very rarely change the bobbin. I'm very economical. It's either cream or white, unless it's a strong colour. Because if it's a strong colour, you don't want that sort of blobbing coming through it. Well, I don't.
No.
So these are all about, as I say, me. And
they're lovely.
I can't find
really
but anyway,
yes,
they're all about me. And then the idea was that the tangle that you can see at the end here, sorry, is that okay? That this was going to encase my roses, which was me.
It didn't work out that way.
It didn't work out that way because it overpowered the roses. Yes, and the idea was that it would, a bit like a hollow cave, and I was in it, still going on about the relationship between caves and hedges and caves and people. But it didn't work. It became a piece in its own right.
Funny how things can do that. They kind of that concept changes as you kind of use the medium.
Well, also, I mean, I did 10 meters of leaves.
Oh my!
And then when I put it onto the heavy wire, I mean, it's on a fine wire, but when I put it onto the heavy wire, it just did its own thing, really.
Yes,
and
I can believe.
Well, I mean.
Yes.
It just does its own thing, yes.
It's lovely.
But in a way, hedges do.
Yes, they do. Yes,
so
they do. You can't control them.
It's actually, yes, it's how it is.
So, well, thank you so much for sharing your stand with us and all your lovely work. It's very inspirational. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you.